Dad by Day, Dame by Night. Episode 172. Introducing Ian Greenwood on the BTS Creative Academy podcast, UNCUT. With me, your host, Martin Colton.
What number am I?
What number of you?
Yeah.
Person or
Like the person as in like your podcast?
the actual individual? I'm not sure.
You've done loads of them, haven't you?
Yeah, it's got a bit complicated, really.
What?
Because then some people have come back for a secend go, and
Oh, you had,
like Lee Pace has been here twice.
oh, do you do one with me and him?
Yeah, with me
Chris,
and him, with Chris, and and then I've had bands on. I had like a whole band on the stage
I
the
saw
other
it
day.
the other day, yeah.
Yeah,
They play
so
as well.
Yeah, they played, and we did like a little music video thing, and yeah, it's like it's turning into almost like a talk show.
Well, if it just come and get shit off the chest.
What is that?
Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, I think you just did.
Am I allowed?
It's for adults. I think you
Okay.
can swear. I swear quite a bit. You just say whatever you want to say, basically.
Okay, yeah.
That's all that this is.
I'm down.
Yeah,
What's the
so
worst?
it's freedom.
worst that can happen?
You've warned them already. We're gonna swear.
Yep.
Probably it's gonna happen. So if you don't like that,
I was
you
driving
know-
I was thinking, just don't swear too much, man.
No, that's okay. Like I put this, everyone knows this is for adults. So yeah, if you let your kids watch it, that's your fault.
It's your own fault.
Yeah, exactly. You should put the parental controls on. But thank you for joining me in.
That's all right.
This is lovely
Well.
to see you. I feel like I want to give you a hug, man, and you're all the way over there. I've missed you.
Well, I'm likeable and easy
Yeah,
to miss.
yeah.
So a lot of people do.
So thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
On the podcast. So I'm not sure what number this is or where we're at with this at the moment. But I have a little tradition that I start with. Okay, it's something really basic and simple. I just do a clap. We go 3, 2, 1 and we clap and then it begins.
Okay.
So you're going to join me?
Yeah.
So 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's out of sync. Should we do that one more time? 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Okay.
That was better.
It's like the
So
old days.
we're there. Well, that's it. It's like we're catching up old friends.
That's it. It's been a while. It's
You know?
actually, funnily enough, a photo popped up on my Facebook memories the other day of me and you
All right.
in
What
our
we doing?
Superman t-shirts when we got together at your house, your old
Yes,
house,
yeah.
and we watched the Smallville finale together.
Yes. Oh.
And you had your
Didn't I have it?
Superman costume on because it had the muscles on. You didn't have any.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was just wearing a t-shirt.
Of course, because you're a bit cooler than
But
me.
there's I think it was your t-shirt. I don't think I owned one, but yeah, come up the other day.
Smallville. Yeah, that was a Smallville finale, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
And we were hoping for a moment of the reveal of him in the full suit, which they
and
kind
we made
of
like a big thing of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we posted a picture on social media because we
We
thought
did.
that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And every year it comes back.
I
and
did love
haunts me.
Smallville. I really enjoyed.
I've
that
rewatched
show.
it recently.
Yeah,
and they've got one of those rewatch podcasts.
Yes,
which I quite like.
Yeah, I've listened in. Let's say that again.
The
I've
acting
listened.
skills coming out.
I can't talk. Do you know what? I don't even know why. This isn't. I don't know why I'm doing this on a podcast. I can't talk.
At least you haven't got to read anything. Then
No,
you're really in
that's
trouble.
it. That's it. That's when I do get in trouble. Actually, I did one the other day, and I did try and change this up a little bit. And I did like a little bit of an intro, a little bit of a script at the beginning.
How'd that go?
It went awful. It went
I'm
awful.
shocked.
I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, okay, so I've got someone coming on that she's got quite a following already.
Yeah.
And she's someone that I was looking up to, and I was looking at following her stuff, and I was kind of like, oh, that's somewhere where I'd like to be. And so I emailed her and I said that to her, like, I quite look up to you and what you've done, and you've inspired me to start this. So it'd be really great to have a little chat with you. And I wasn't expecting like a reply, and she just texts back, yeah, sure.
That's pretty cool.
And then she was on it. But then I started to get a bit nervous.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, now I'm a bit ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I better like up my game. And I thought by upping my game, that would be by writing an intro and trying to be professional. And so I wrote out this little script at the beginning, and then like about 3 lines into it, I was like, shit, this is going wrong.
Did you just own up to it?
Yeah, do you know what I did?
That's
I
the
did
best
like
thing.
no, I did it. I got through the script, but then it was still like playing on my mind like 10 minutes into the conversation, and it fitted into the conversation, and I was like, look, at the beginning there, I messed that up.
Yeah.
Through nerves, through reading, because I'm dyslexic, and I struggle with reading, especially sight reading. And so we shouldn't play around with two things when they're working.
If the format works, stick to it.
Stick to it.
Stick to it.
Yeah, and that's what.
And it seems like it's working. I see these pop up on Instagram all the time, all different people.
Yeah, putting on everything, everywhere, and people People are coming together, and it's growing and it's building, and
It's nice. You must have caught up with some people as well that you've not seen for.
you.
Yeah, but all sorts of people. Because I see people come up from eons ago that you haven't seen and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I had people that pop to mind at the moment. I don't want to miss anyone out, but like I had Jen and Vic from Hip Hop.
Yeah, I saw the other day. Yeah, I saw they were on the other day. Yeah.
So that was lovely for them to sit down. I probably haven't had a proper conversation with them for about 10 years.
Yeah. Me and Jen are still close, so I see she's godparent to my little
your little one.
Yeah,
lovely.
So I speak to them fairly often still. But yeah, saw they were on the other day.
But so they both came down, and the two of them. That was the first time I did two people.
Right.
I had two people sitting on the sofa. And Liam Pace.
Yes,
Chris and Lee.
Yeah.
There's me for getting out to talk again. It's just been lovely to just catch up with people, and now I'm catching up with you.
Yeah.
And so it's just an excuse to sit down and see people.
Yeah.
And maybe it is, and maybe that's okay. Is that a problem?
No, I mean, I think it's like I said to you when we spoke and stuff. I don't think I'm very interested, or whatever.
No.
You see, I don't. I'm not a big podcaster, so what I tend to do is watch stuff more. I find things when I can visualize, I find it much easier to do.
Right. Okay.
I sometimes find listening to things, and when you can't see people's faces, a bit weird. So I watch a lot of the snippets, or see a lot of your snippets on Instagram.
You see the little clips.
Yeah, and I prefer watching like the clips and stuff like that to anything like that, because, like I say, I'm more of a visual person. And you see all these people now sound so profound and like really interesting. And
then I get someone like you
I'm
on,
just
and
a normal geezer.
But you're not though, are you? Like that was the thing when you said that to me on the message. I'm just a normal geezer. I was like, but you're not though, really. Like there's a hidden side to you. Isn't there?
I don't know if it's hidden so much as it is
a side that you may not expect if you knew one side of you. If you knew the businessman, if you knew the professional.
I'm not a professional at mover, to be fair.
No.
Well, I get by, but I mean, obviously, I think you phrased it quite well, dad by day, dame by night.
Yeah.
Which I might use as my new slogan.
Yeah, that could just be Ian Greenwood.
Yeah, dad by day, dame by night. Yeah, so obviously, I mean, look, I love being a dame.
Mm-hmm. You love being a
love
dame.
putting a dress on.
Yeah.
Love being a bloke in a dress and doing pantomime. That is, I would say that's probably pretty much the only thing that will get me on stage anymore.
Really? No singing in a normal sense, in a theatrical.
I mean, I do
musical.
I would do stuff, but I won't just do anything now. So like the days where you just kind of go and do anything are gone. Mm-hmm. It has to be something that I know.
Does it have to call? Does a part have to call to you? Does it have to be like them parts that you're like, I want to do that?
I have to want to do it. I don't think anything particularly calls to me anymore, because I feel like I've done everything I need to do for me to feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. But definitely there are some parts that you think, I would do that. But really, the way I think about it, really has to enhance my life, because it takes so much time. And it does, I think even more so when you're an adult and you've got a family and you've got a job. Like you do all that stuff, or I exercise a lot as well, so that's a big part of my life as well. So then fitting in rehearsals and a show and things like that.
Because how much time can a show take up? Like you do a show, it can take up 3 months, 6 months.
Well, yeah, it depends.
Even a year sometimes.
3 or 4 months, and then you're rehearsing maybe twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, and then you lead up to your show and you're fitting all that in.
And we are talking amateur dramatic, aren't we? Community theatre.
Yeah, Amdram,
Yeah, so when we're doing that, you're not getting paid. It is just your time.
Yep. Yeah. It's just your time. You do it because you love it. I'm not sure I love it anymore.
Right. Okay.
I think it served the purpose for me. But really about doing things I enjoy. Mm-hmm. So like things that I enjoy doing because I have to enjoy it. So like I love being a dame. I love pantomime. I love everything that pantomime stands for. I think it is the most underrated art form out there. People think that it's just easy or anyone can do it, and I think it's actually the opposite. It's actually really difficult. Mm-hmm. Anyone can do anything, but to do it well is quite hard. And I love making people laugh. Yeah. I mean, you'll know.
The reward there? Is the satisfaction from being a dame?
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I remember I did. We did one January. I did it with Hartford Theatre Company, who I've done a couple with now. but the theatre in Hertford's being redone, so they've got like a little place where they rehearse called Bentley House, and it's like a 60-seater.
Right. Okay.
But the stage, so they do things there. The stage is on a flat, and you've got maybe like 4 or 5 rows of seats. And so you're like
So you're like intimate.
I was in, so it was almost like doing a stand-up gig. So it was like, you know, whereas you're on stage and you've got that separation, you can't, you can interact, but to a point. I mean, with this one, I was able to just go mad. It was just, yeah.
Because there are some people, because you're still quite young, like we're like mid 30s,
I'm
late 30s, but that's just still fairly young. Like when I think of a dame, I think of someone that's like 50 plus. Like I tend to think of like an older man doing that role of a dame.
Yeah.
Do you? If you thought outside of you and you think of other people that have done it, I remember a guy called Charlie at the Playhouse.
Yeah.
Like he was much older, wasn't he? And Martin Bedwell had a little go at it.
Yeah.
And
I remember wanting to do dame when I was younger and being told I was too young and thinking, well, no, that's just
why
I don't understand that. That's just what people's perception of a dame is. But why? Why is that? It doesn't have to be that. You know, I think I did it first time maybe. I want to say 18 maybe. So what are we now? So, you know, I was probably early 30s, but I was a lot bigger. So that probably helped.
Right,
I was a lot bigger. And I think when I first started playing dame, I didn't play it like man in a dress as much as I do now. Whereas now I'm very much like I understand like.
So the characters changed. The characters evolved.
Yeah, compared to like how I started. I think when I started, it was very much like trying to do a more high pitched voice and like trying to play it more, not feminine, but more feminine than I do now. Whereas now I think I play it very much like man in a dress, and more, yeah. Also, I don't play it very nice. I don't believe in like the traditional nice. I think she needs to have a bit of bite about her.
Did you get that from watching Phil Dow at all? Because he had that bite, didn't he? He had that. I remember he used to say, "Shut it, kids," and he used to really have it. He had a feistiness to him when he did Dame, didn't he? Because that was someone we grew up watching a bit.
I remember him more as a bad guy than a dame.
Right. Okay.
So like, I remember him being more definitely a bad guy. I wouldn't necessarily. So I know he did dame a few times, but I wouldn't necessarily associate. When I think back to my memories, I wouldn't necessarily associate him as a dame. I remember, I think someone called Stuart did it. I remember doing it. I can remember a few, but I don't really have a lot of memories of like dames and things like that. It's just something.
So there's no one that you like look to and when that's the kind of dame that I want to portray.
No, just figured it out as you go along. I really like making people laugh. Like also like my dame is very like based on like wit and you know I'll do the script, but like I will basically just make it up as well at the same time in the right way. It's not like ad-libbing for the sake of ad-libbing, but like you know, when we did this one more recently, because it was so close, it was like I say, it was like doing a stand-up gig. I'd just stop and talk to people, or you know, I was doing one time I was doing one bit and she got up and left. And it's like why would you do that? It's perfect. And you just like, you know, you help her out to the toilet, you help her back in, stuff like that. I like that kind of comedy, like where you're challenged and
it's in the moment.
Yeah. You can make like magic.
Yeah. You're playing, aren't you?
Yeah, just messing about really. Yeah. It's like it's almost a little. It's the closest I think I've got to like where I felt like I was doing stand up in January.
Is there something more beyond that because you can be behind a character, a different version of yourself?
It's probably easier to do it as a character because, like you say, you can hide behind that. I think doing it as yourself is a lot harder because you're just more exposed. Remember, Jim did Taxi Driver and did a good job as that because it was a character. But I don't know like how easy it would be to do it as yourself. I've thought about it. It's something that's crossed my mind since January about
doing stand up.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I have thought about it.
Because when I think about you now, and I really like assess the years that we used to be friends and things, and I assess like who was Ian.
Sound so sad.
We used to be friends. No, but what I mean by that is we used to spend a lot of time together, didn't we? You know, we used to spend when my kids were young. You
all the time.
You gave up a lot of your time to spend with me, whereas when you've got young kids, as you now know, you don't have so much time, do you? And it's hard to keep connections. But you made a good effort to keep the connection going when I had a young family, and we'd go to Walton Towers, wouldn't we, and things like that.
All sorts,
we did all sorts of things, and and sometimes life we go in slightly separate directions, don't we?
Yeah.
So when I refer to us, we used to be friends. It's not that we're not friends.
I understand.
I'm saying it in the sense of that we don't, there's not that sort of see each other as much as we used to. But where was I getting to with that?
I was saying about stand up.
Yes.
You were saying about knowing me.
Yeah, knowing you and knowing you, I would say a comic.
Yeah.
Like you were always wanting to make people laugh.
Yeah.
You were always finding something funny in any situation.
Yeah.
And highlighting it.
Yeah.
Even when
it's more at other people's expenses.
Yeah.
I think that tends to be like I feel like I think it's changed over the years. I think I used to use it probably as a bit of a mechanism to hide behind a little bit. Mm-hmm. It was kind of my thing, and I had a bit of a character as well, didn't I? Like it wasn't like, I kind of played Chunk, the character.
Yeah.
So I guess you're hiding behind that. Mm-hmm. And when you're a character, you get away with more. So I probably got away with a lot more than I would do as a
I
as
never
a
really
person.
considered that. Yeah, you did. You had a character.
It's a persona.
Then,
it's
you
like
had
a persona.
Yeah. You was cheeky Chunk, weren't you? Like you were being cheeky with people, and that's how you'd be funny. But so why do you think you was hiding behind a persona then?
Probably just when you're younger and just not really knowing who you are. I think, what was I then? I mean, I don't know, from anywhere from 21 through to, 25 probably, that 4 or 5 year period.
Yeah.
Where we were at the house and we all kind of used to hang out together and stuff like that. Totally didn't know I was. Not in like a I didn't find myself, but just didn't know I was.
But you don't know until you look back, do you? Like at the time, you might not realise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've kind of known who I am properly or found out until like the last couple of years. I think becoming a parent has really made me understand what's important to me and what's not important to me. So I don't think until the last couple of years. So. I think I was a lot heavier as well. So like, I think confidence and stuff like that used to. So I think, I was a fat guy. So then, but if you're not just a fat guy, if you're a funny guy, or you can find something else as well, and then you can kind of use that a little bit. I don't think I was always funny either. I think sometimes I was like a dick. I think sometimes I was like too much. When I think back to something, I don't remember a lot of it because it's hard to remember. Because
it was
reasons.
a lifetime ago, wasn't it? Like it was like a lot's happened since then.
Well, it was what you're talking 16 years ago. I think, is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you got to think like Alex is 18 now.
Yeah, so
Chloe's 15, and
so about 16 years ago. Just different, but also different times as well. Like the things that we used to do, you couldn't get away with now. Like the stuff we used to write in those bibbles and you just
what was the bibbles for those? I don't remember any bibbles.
You did.
What was bibble?
The bibbles of Borlocks, wasn't it?
Yes.
We used to have we had books. They were blank notepads essentially, weren't they? And we would write things, or people would draw stuff, and there was like the Adventures of Chunk.
Martin's Misguided Moments.
Yeah, there was. Jim used to do a lot of. Yeah, I think Jim drew a lot of the misguided moments, didn't
Jim
he?
did the Martin's Misguided Moments.
We'd write.
I don't know where he got the ideas from, but
yeah. If only we'd known someone who was called Martin who made bad choices. See, but like, if you think about some of the stuff we used to like say, or like not even in a bad way, like just it's totally different now.
Yeah.
So you have to be a bit more careful, and I think that's what I like about Dame as well. That's what I love about pantomime. So like, I can't swear, I can't, be aggressive. I can't, not in a fun way.
It puts
I
some
can't
rules,
be rude. So
rules on it. Whereas before, when you were in our early 20s, there were no rules.
Yeah, you just say
no rules at all.
You say what the hell you wanted, and you didn't really care. And I think so like it's changing society, so you have to be careful about what you say anyway. Rightly so. But in pantomime, it's almost like a challenge. I love the idea of telling a joke that's rude that adults get, but it isn't rude to kids. Like finding that type of comedy, you know.
Yeah, and kids find it funny because everyone else is laughing.
Yeah, but they'll
and
find
they
it
know,
for
they know,
different
yeah,
reasons.
they find it funny for a completely
the joke
different
that can be
reason.
funny for two different reasons, and that is and that's challenging. And I'm actually writing a pantomime now as well.
Oh, really?
So not a new one. I'm writing a version of Dick Whittington for.
Have you ever wrote anything?
No. So we did pantomime this year, just gone, and we did, what was it? Puss in Boots. And the script, not to say it was bad because someone wrote that and they bought it and whatever, but we were told with the script that we had quite a lot of license. The author was quite happy for us to change what we wanted to. So I rewrote basically all my own stuff. And I loved it. Like I loved the challenge of it, making it funny and figuring stuff out that worked, or like you'd be in the shower and you'd think, oh, I've got a joke, or like you wake up in the morning and you just write
Something
stuff
will come to you.
down. I really enjoyed that process. And I think I know pantomime really well. So I actually wanted to direct. And I said to them, could I direct? But they, you know, theatre companies they have like a rule where if you're going to do a big show, you have to do a smaller show first. And
Right, okay.
I don't really like to conform to rules.
No.
Also, like I know what I want to do, and I don't want to kind of do something else to get
Just
me there.
to do, yeah.
Like, yeah, I think I understand my worth, and I understand like what I'm good at, and know that. So I was like, well, I'd like to write and direct, and they were like, well, we've got someone who's coming to do it anyway, but if you want to write, you know, you can write one. So I'm doing that in a minute, but God, it's hard. So much harder than I thought it would be.
Because you starting from scratch.
Well, starting from scratch as in like I'm starting from a blank page, but I'm not starting from scratch because there's a story. So like I know the story of Dick Whittington. So
And are you following a format as well?
to a point, I mean, I'm following like I've got the story and I've got the arc of what's happening and I've got it, but it's the actual like writing of the scenes. It's actually much harder than I thought. Like if you're not feeling creative,
Like you can't force it, can you?
No, you just have to.
You can't say tonight I'm going to write 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
That's going to be when I write.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
I often find with me when I do some writing, it's like between 11 o'clock and 3 a.m.
Wow, I'm asleep by that point.
Yeah, that's like when it turns on, and it's through not forcing it as well.
Yeah,
it's through. I can't say tonight is going to be a writing night, or
you just don't feel it, do you?
No.
So yeah,
no.
my wife was just in a show a couple of weeks back, so she was out every night. So the idea was I was just going to write loads, and I didn't write a sausage.
No.
So, but yeah, but I really enjoy it, but it's just you've got to find the right windows.
Yeah.
Which is difficult, but pantomime's not till Christmas. So.
One of the things as well, one of the things that I've also found helps me is one, having a deadline, so there's something that's going to happen at that point. But then the closer you get to it and time starts to go, there's something about that pressure that's on, that time's catching up with you, that you now have to do it. There's something in that. It's stressful.
Yeah.
And just so many writers put themselves in that position.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I can say to you to do is always like be prepared in some way. Always have a notebook pad with you. Like, we've got phones now, so you can write notes on your phone.
Stuff like that all the time, yeah.
But always have a be prepared to write.
Yeah.
That if something comes to you, you can note it down and just go with it.
Yeah.
And sometimes be prepared that if you're sitting down of an evening and you plan to watch a movie and get a takeaway, and stuff starts to come to you, go, sorry wife, sorry, but I've got to write now.
Yeah.
Like maybe have that conversation sometimes.
I don't eat takeaways anymore, mate.
Do you not? No. No, I can tell you're looking good.
I've had enough of them.
You're looking good,
I've
mate.
had enough of them. But no, yeah, right, yeah. I really enjoyed the process so far, but it's a lot harder than I thought. It's just finding time again. You know, job, kid, dog, all that stuff. You know, life.
Yeah.
And I want it to be something I enjoy, not be something that, you know, is
a chore.
Yeah. And you know, I'm not getting paid for anything like that. So like, you take that like pressure away. So like, I'm writing something and I can write it at my own time to a point. I don't feel pressure where I have to, you know, you're being paid or something like that. But yeah, just something I wanted to try. And even though it's been slow so far, I know ultimately it will be successful. I think it'll be funny. But yeah, just want to try something different. And then I really want to direct a pantomime as well. Like, I think I've got good ideas. I think I know what works. So I'd like to move more into that side of things as well, and then just dip back in.
How do you think you'll find it when you hand your script over to the director? Do you know the guy that's
Yeah.
guy
So
or girl that's
I'm on the
directing?
production team with them as well. So I'm not just writing. I'll be at the rehearsals as well.
Yeah.
So I'll have a creative
like input.
Yeah, I think
because that can be hard to let your script go and someone misinterpret what you was trying to achieve. But it could be useful for you in the sense of you want to direct, and you can be around that process.
Yeah. That's the idea, is to kind of there's things I know. I know how to I know how to put on a show, as in like I know what my script would do, and I know how to get someone to get the right things out of it. But you know, the other parts that come along with it, the technical aspects and things like that, I need to learn.
Right. Okay.
And get more comfortable with. But yeah, just challenge myself as well. I don't know about you, but like as I've got older, I just want to like challenge myself, push myself, and understand what my almost kind of like push my limits.
Yes. Yeah.
Physically, like mentally, not to like the point where it crushes you, but like
just stepping out of the comfort zone.
Just like I just want to try stuff, and I might try stuff and not enjoy it. Like I might get to the end of this process and I might think, I'm not writing another script. I've done one, I didn't enjoy it. Or I might try and write a stand-up bit and I might go and do it and I might hate it.
But you want to do it.
Who cares? Like, and if I do hate it, what have I lost? Nothing. Like,
there's actually more to lose through not trying, isn't there?
I just want to try things, and I feel like if I give anything a really good go, I can be successful. I kind of have that mentality. Doesn't mean I'll be good at it, but like I could be successful, as in like I'll achieve what I'm trying to do.
You'll do it to the level that you can imagine yourself doing it.
Like so. I feel like so that's kind of, I want to do stuff like that. So I might write this one and then not do anything for however long, or I might.
You might end up doing the next year's one and continue doing it.
Or I might end up being. Who knows? You never know what Amjam's like. You have to scrape the barrel sometimes to get people, don't you? Yeah. So could end up being in something again, but yeah, just like I say, anything I do now, I look at it and say, does this enhance my life? Does this make my life better? If the answer is yes, I will do it. If it's not necessarily. If it's not a yes, it's a no. So it's not necessarily it's always no. But if I look at something and think, nah. Like, it was something recently I could have auditioned for, and I thought about it, and I was like, it's not going to make my life better. Yeah. In the overall picture.
And that's really quite a skill to recognise that, because a lot of people, you know, I had someone say to me yesterday, could I direct them in a play? And I said just straight off no. Yeah. Because I knew there was no way that is something that I want to do in my life right now. Yeah. I've directed quite a few plays now, and I feel like I've kind of done that for now, unless I'm doing it for a business. Yeah. So I still will do that as a business, but not in Amdram at the moment. Yeah. Like, I might come back to it later, but I instantly knew to say no. Yeah. Not I think about it, not let's consider it or anything like that. Just no.
I think that's something I've always been good at.
I haven't. I haven't always been good. I would often be quite fearful of saying no.
Oh yeah, no. See, I'm the opposite. I think people see like no as a negative thing, and I think being able to say no is like a positive thing, because it's about being like understanding.
It's a positive thing for you.
Yeah,
it's like, protecting yourself.
But you can go the other way sometimes, and you can say no too easily, and then you can regret. I've done that as well. I've definitely said no to things, and then thought, you know, you've cut your nose off to spite your face there. Like, especially like, I would always audition for like one part. If I'm going to go and do something, always audition for one part. I'll never put down, there's always that tick box, will you do other parts? No. And then always say that. I'll always say that. And then there's been a couple of moments where you thought, could have done that, or I could have done that.
But you have to be true to yourself.
Yeah, it's just,
How would you have felt, honestly, if you didn't get the part that you wanted? Yeah. And would it have been worth your time?
Yeah, I think you've got to play the game a bit as well. Sometimes when people say they'll do other stuff, it's easy to get shuffled around. Yeah. I tend to like latch on to one thing I want to do.
Because that can be something to consider in amateur dramatics, can't it? As you say, sometimes it's hard to fill the parts. Yeah. That you might actually be the right person for that, but if you're willing to consider another role, the director might put you into the other role. Yeah. Because they can fit. They might just be moving people around. Yeah. But if you're solid on what you want
Yeah.
and determined and say, no, this part and this part only, then you're not going to be played with.
Exactly. I've seen that before where I've been in shows where better people have been cast in like ensemble parts so they can go and play 3 or 4 or 5 different parts because they're better, because you can utilise them more. And yeah, I
So it's a question: how much do you want to be played with, rather than you being the one playing?
Yeah, I think you've got to kind of like pick your part, pick what you want to do. Especially Amdram. Amdram is it is just, I don't enjoy it anymore as a thing. I just find Amdram as an adult is not what Amdram was as a kid.
What's the difference?
I loved Amdram as a kid. I loved being part of it. I loved what it represented. I loved that it gave me like I think it's the first thing that gave me like an outlet to really express myself. And like it was I would definitely say it's like what I found as a way to like express myself. And I just loved it. I loved being part of it. It was always exciting. It was always fun. It was always stress free. That's how I remember it anyway. I'm sure there were moments, but I just really.
But overall, it was and I look back with fondness of all the stuff that I did when I was younger. But as you get older, there seems to be this political thing that comes into it.
It just drives me nuts, man.
Doesn't it?
It just drives me nuts. It's so political, and it's so. Everyone's just got their own agenda, and it's just like, it's so cliquey and like.
Not every group is like it, but no.
I don't know. I think to an extent, not everything is the same, but I think to an extent, as adults, it is like that. I think it is. People, I don't know.
See, I've seen it where, particularly on shows where there's a variety of different age groups involved. So, like the last amateur dramatics production that I did was Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, a Christmas production, a little bit like Pantomime, but it had everyone from the age of 12 to 80 involved with it. Cast of about 40 people, a team here. It's one of the biggest shows we've ever done here. It was a mammoth task. Crew as well. There was about 70 people in the crew. Like, it was phenomenal, and like so many people got involved. But with that was one of the best community productions I've ever done because of the people. The people all came together, and there was no clickiness, there was no dramas, there was no politics. I think it's the companies that seem to have things that have gone on in their history. Like moments, and they hold on to those moments, even if those moments happened 20 years ago and no one else is around or knows anything about it anymore. But there's 1 or 2 individuals that just can't let go.
There's no short memories in amateur dramatics, is there? Everyone's kind of... I think what you say about like your production, what you did, is because you did that and people come in and it's like something you do in that moment, but it's like societies or like things like that. It just feels like there's always like something going on, or like people have got agendas, or
because there was a local one that you used to be involved with has recently closed down, hasn't there?
What, EHOS? Yeah. So I was on the committee for. How do you know it closed down?
I know things.
So
is that a secret then? Is
no,
that
it's not a secret.
Not knowledge?
It's not a secret. I just don't know how common knowledge it is.
It wasn't announced.
No.
Yeah.
I knew because I obviously, it's like an Amjam, you have friends and you speak to people and stuff like that. But yeah, that one closed down, which was a real shame.
Because they've done some really fantastic shows, like hit and miss. And I think this is the thing with amateur dramatics as well, is shows can be hit and miss. You can do it can be a really good production go on, followed by a really bad one. It's not always consistent, I think quality or...
I think the reason for that now is that societies don't really exist. So like when I started back up again, sort of 11 years ago when I joined EHOS, there was very much a community, and it was very much the same people. And I joined the committee then as well, and it was very much the same people. So we'd do a show and it would be the same people driving it. You get the same people coming back to do it. And there was always like that pool of people. And I think that's changed drastically over the past sort of 11 years, where people just kind of like cherry pick now. So you don't really have your core people in a group. and that's what groups rely on
Yes,
to be successful. People that come back, people that do it to be part of it, to be around people. And that's what EHOS lost. They lost that core group. And
just spread too thin.
yeah, I mean, it's just hard. It's hard as well. Like, it's hard being on a committee with your friends. Like, it's tough because it creates
I've done it
and
for
drama
15 years, and
we had fallouts and arguments, and it's just stressful as well. And you think, why do I want this stress? You don't get anything for it.
No.
But it started long before me as well. People like Helen Fruin was on the committee for a long time, long before me and stuff like that. So people I know that have been part of it. So it's sad to see it go, but I mean, what can you do?
But amateur dramatics is still happening.
Yeah.
In the community, just under different names.
Yeah, same people.
Yeah,
same people doing different, different places.
Yeah, just under a different banner.
My wife was just in Sister Act for Broxbourne Theatre Company a couple of weeks ago, and she'd never worked with them before. So, it's good to you tend to go where people are doing the shows. Like, if someone was really, I'd love to do like Rent again, for example. So like, I'd probably go anywhere and try and do that.
That's my worst show.
Yeah, but you're like the opposite to me, aren't you? Like,
I love musicals.
Yeah, no, but you can't sing.
Yeah, true. No, but I love to watch them. In fact, I was listening to musical music. I was listening to Jersey Boys just before you came in. Like, I love musicals. I just despise Rent.
Yeah,
it's
weird, isn't it? A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best things there is. But then I don't know, Oklahoma and stuff like that. And yet some people love that stuff.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of theatre, isn't it? And entertainment. We don't all have to like the same thing.
Yeah.
We can all get something different from it, or something can maybe not resonate with us.
But yeah, I just think when it comes to societies now, I just think there's too much talking, and I really hate, the one thing I hate is that you have to audition to be part of a society before you can then audition for a show.
No, see, I've not seen. I've never seen that.
I've seen that a few times.
That's a very old school way
I hate
of doing
that.
it.
I just think it's like I just think it's a little bit like up your own arse a little bit.
Yeah,
like you think a lot. So I wouldn't go and do something like that. If I found out that, I wouldn't. That would immediately put me off. Things like that. And I'm not as in touch as I used to be with a lot of these things. But
so the opportunity to audition.
Yeah,
you'd have to audition
to like join a society.
I've honestly never come across that before.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times historically, and just
was that a case with EHOS then?
No. That was never a case with EHOS.
No.
Sometimes you have to pay membership to audition as well, which I'm a bit.
So the difficulty with that is it costs a lot of money to put on these shows.
Yeah,
and it is hard to fund, and some shows are risky for to put the shows on. It's the bums on seats. It's the people filling the auditorium.
Yeah.
And some shows, you're not guaranteed you're going to get a good audience.
Yeah.
So the only way to secure it and make it happen is if the cast pay.
Yeah, if the cast pay.
If the cast pay, like with a membership.
But sometimes you have to be a member just to audition, and then you could not get in a show.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit. I don't really like that either.
Because pay to be part of a community. Yeah.
Because what you'll do is you'll get people. Look, let's call a spade a spade. You're going to get people turn up that are no good, right? And you're not going to cast them, but you're still going to let them pay, I don't know, £15, £20 to become a member, and then do the audition and give them a no. So you're just taking like their money. I think I don't like that side of it.
No, it's not really. It's not really embracing, is it? Either like I do see theatre companies, communities.
Yeah.
And would you really, if someone just said to me, like, come and join us, but also give us your money?
It's been a cult.
Yeah, it is basically, isn't it? It's like, would you do it? You wouldn't immediately. Like, you're putting a barrier to the entry.
Yeah.
Rather, these companies should be opening their arms and say, come and be part of us.
Yeah.
And we'll work it out as we go along.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah, that's the way I think it should be. But then.
But to pay to be in a show, sometimes I do understand.
Oh no, the show fees and memberships. Like I totally get that. That's fine. You get that everywhere. Yeah, and I think they have gone up slightly since
because you'll buy a script to do
costumes
to do Rent. You're probably looking at £120 a night for a theatre this size just to have the script.
Yeah,
that's without paying for the lights and the sound and musicians and all the costume and all of that.
Yeah.
So the only way to do it may be to pay a fee.
That's paying fees and stuff like that. I don't have an issue with memberships when you're in something. That's not a problem.
But it's just to be part of the group.
To be part of it.
Yeah,
I think that's a bit cheeky. So I think things like that put me off. And like I say, I don't really like the whole like kumbaya, like let's all be like best mates and like, and also like, I also don't like the aspect of, oh, let's just all have a good time. Have a good time, but let's do a good job as well. Like, if I'm giving up 4 months of my life, not 4 months, I'm not giving up, but if I'm giving up 4 months of my time, I'm going to go and do something, I'm going to do it properly. So like, I take it very seriously.
Yeah,
and
same
that
with
also causes sometimes a problem.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people that do amateur dramatics that want to do it just for the social side.
Yeah.
They haven't got really any interest in the theatre.
Yeah.
They might be a bit outgoing and an extrovert, and it's a chance to do their thing, or they're an introvert and they want to be an extrovert. Like, there might be that side of it. But yeah, in general, when I do a show, I'm doing it because I want to learn some skills, or I want to build my skills, or I want to give it 100% when I'm doing a show. Yeah, the going down to the pub bit is like at the bottom of my list of why I want to do it.
Yeah, I don't. So
whereas there's some people that are quite close to me that I know that's at the top of their list.
Yeah, the
like,
social aspects
literally,
of it.
that's what comes first.
Yeah. So I find just the whole notion of it, I find a little bit tiresome. So I think that's why I kind of pick and choose now. But also, I'm not the biggest people person either. I find people like I'm not like antisocial or anything like that, but like, I find that some people just rub me up the wrong way, and I'm sure I rub people up. I mean, in fact, I know I rub people up the wrong way, but I just have quite a low tolerance for like people that I don't want to deal with. And I think when you're in groups like that, you're always going to find that, and I find that quite difficult sometimes to. I haven't really got much of a poker face, or like, do you know what I mean? Not in a horrible way either, but again, you get to a point in life, you know the types of people you want to be around, right? So like, that's something like. You know the types of people that are good for you or types of people that are bad for you. Not necessarily as in they're bad people, but just bad for you as the way you are as a person. And I find that, I know those types of things about myself. So I find that impacts the way that sometimes I.
Why do you think you struggle to keep that back, to hide that?
Well,
Should you have to?
Because I don't think you have to. This is one of the things. Like, I think it's okay not to like. Want to be around everyone, or not to like people. It's not about not liking people. There's very few people that I think I like actively dislike. There's a couple, but like there's very few people I actively dislike. There's just a lot of people that I can't be bothered with, and not in a horrible way. Just there's people that I know that will enhance my life, or I will make their life better, and I just want to kind of spend time with people like that, and I think that's fine. And I don't think people say things like that enough, or like, it's not a bad thing to not want to like everyone or talk to everyone. It's actually okay. And it's okay to say what you think. As you know, I do and still do now. And a lot of people don't necessarily like that either. So I definitely find that sometimes when I'm doing things in groups like that, I have to kind of like water myself down.
I was going to bring up, like, what about the care for others and the care for the environment that you're in then? So if you're saying what you think, how does that?
I don't really do that. I don't really do that. That's something definitely I've learnt to do now, especially over maybe the more recent future, like, years and things like that. I've definitely learnt the right time to say things versus the wrong time to say things. I never used to have that. I used to say what I was thinking all the time. But I can wait till I get home and say what I'm thinking to my wife, or to tell the dog about who's annoyed me that day.
It's channeling that energy in a different direction.
Yeah, but I definitely think things like that are the reason that I don't do as much now. And I know that I have the ability to rub people up the wrong way.
And you brought in being a parent now. Do you think that has anything to do with the change in you?
Yes and no. I mean, I just fundamentally want to be a good person. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've never been a bad person, but I just want to look at myself and be like a good bloke. I want people to say, oh yeah, Ian's I don't really care what people think, but if people were going to have an opinion of me, I'd like someone to say, oh yeah, he's a good dude. He's nice. He's a bit opinionated, but you you roll with that. But being a dad, being a dad's taught me a lot. Definitely, I think the thing that it's taught me most is patience. My wife will say, and you know, like, I'm not a patient dude, like, and I'm still impatient now. Like, if I want something, I want it now. I don't want to wait. But being a parent has definitely taught me to be more patient.
Because you've got no choice.
Yeah, well, you've got no choice, yeah.
Because they're not going to be patient with you.
Yeah.
Are they?
No. And also to enjoy things a bit more. That's fundamentally one of the things I've learned as well. Like I said, I try to do is enjoy everything because it just goes so quickly. Like, time is like mad, isn't it? Like, it just goes so quickly. I mean, he was a little baby yesterday, my little boy, and
how old is he now?
He's nearly 18. He'll be 18 months in July. And he's like...
and if you think that time's gone quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like I say, I've got an 18... Like, Alex is 18 now. Yeah. Out in the world by himself. He's living over in Bishop Stortford at the moment.
Does he live with you guys?
Not at the moment. No, he's living with my sister at the moment
Is
in
he?
Bishop Stortford. Yeah, while he's doing his exams and and he's going out into the world to do uni. And
where's he going to uni?
He's not sure. It depends on how good his exams go.
It's mad. Man. I remember swinging him around by his arms in the garden.
And that's how quick time goes. That's 18 years. And he's driving lessons tonight. Like, he's driving a car, and it's crazy.
That's crazy.
And even with my daughter, she's going out and being out in the world.
She's doing the band stuff as well.
Yeah, she's doing the band.
I've seen that. She's quite good, huh?
Yeah,
good
she's
singer.
Phenomenal. Yeah,
Must get it from her mum.
I don't know where she gets it from, but it's. Do you know what? I say she's a phenomenal singer.
Yeah.
Her singing, she can improve on her singing.
Yeah.
There's an improvement to be made there, like technique and things like that. But she's a performer.
Yeah.
Like, she knows how to perform.
Yeah.
And earlier this year, her band won 2 competitions, and it wasn't because they were the best guitarists or the best singers; they were the best performers as a band.
Yeah.
And I know that she worked that into the band as well.
Yeah.
I know that she's directing them. She's like she's like the puppet master, and she brings out this performance, and that's what she is. That's what makes her special is her performance.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was thinking about like what we were going to talk about to a point, and I was thinking about what the hell am I going to say? I'm just a normal guy, and I was thinking about, like, because obviously it's performance based. You know, this is a creative kind of podcast. Yeah. Things like that. And I was thinking about, like, the difference between, like, I was driving over and I was thinking about the difference, like, between an actor and a performer. And I would definitely say that I'm a performer. I'm not an actor. I like to perform, and I think there's a real difference between that. I think actors like to think, I'm an actor.
Yeah, and I think that's what I would consider myself like that.
Yeah.
Like, I study the craft,
and
I'm gonna work out what every single word means and where I'm gonna take every single breath.
I do Shakespeare.
I do Shakespeare, blah blah blah. Yeah. That's how I used to consider myself, and I forgot about, within doing that, I forgot a lot about play.
Yep.
Whereas when I watch my daughter on stage, she is playing.
Yeah.
She is playing with it. She plays with the instruments. She plays with the song. She plays with the audience.
Yep.
And that's so enjoyable to watch.
Yep. Because you never know what's going to happen.
No.
Right? That's the whole point about it. That's what's fun. It's the unknown. And it doesn't. And sometimes sometimes with things like that, you could die on your ass. Like, if you're doing jokes, or you're doing shows, or you're playing in a band, sometimes you could die. And that's going to happen. But then when it goes right and it lands, they're the moments that's what keeps you coming back. It's like playing golf, right? If you hit one good shot, you forget the 100 shots you've played before that were awful.
Because you'll always remember that one.
Because you always remember. And it's the same. I had it with, Panto in January. Some of the things just landed, and it was just like I was doing a bit at the end, and suddenly this, like, ice cream spoon pinged on stage from nowhere, right at the end. And I was like, did someone just, like, throw a spoon at me? And it turned out it was like this little girl guide, or little, like, brownie or whatever she was. And I went into this, like, 5-minute bit with this little girl and stuff like that. And it was just like, it was like a gift.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, there's little parts like that I remember, and I just think, God.
What a way to look at it as well, at a moment like that, as a gift.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, it's not planned. It came from nowhere.
Yeah.
And you went with it.
Yeah.
And not just you got something from that, the entire audience would have got something from that. Your cast, the memory.
Yeah.
But really, where did it come from?
it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things that came, and they're the moments I live for. Like I love that stuff. I remember that specifically, or a couple of other bits, and you know, when I think about maybe not doing something again, because I do think about it, not like I'm not like retiring, because you can't retire from a hobby. You just stop for a bit. But like when I do think about like maybe that would be too much work, you think about those little moments and you think that's why you do it, and that's why you get up on stage. And you know, it's a bit like a drug as well, isn't it? You know, you're addicted to that feeling. You know, when you go up on stage, and I don't know if you still get it, but like sometimes I'll go and watch stuff and I'll be sitting there and I'll start to feel like I'll get a bit twitchy. And not so much with professional stuff, because it's professional stuff and that's never really where my trajectory was. Like I was never my destination.
Right, okay.
So like, but when I watch amateur theatre and I think I could do that, or I think, oh yeah, that'd be good, and I start to get that itch. And
That's, do you know what? That feeling is when I know it's a good show.
Yeah.
When that comes into my head, when I'm sitting, particularly in here, and I'm watching something, and I think to myself, oh, I wish I was on that stage with them.
Yeah.
That to me is the time when I go, yeah, they've done well tonight. Yeah. The times when I'm like not enjoying it, and I'm like checking my watch, and I'm like, is it time to go home yet? Like, that's when when I'm like, nah, I hate this.
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved with this.
Yeah.
You know.
And it is difficult, like amateur stuff. You get all different like types of people, but also that's the beauty of it as well. Like meeting all these different people.
You never know what you're going to get, really, do you?
And that's one of the things I loved about doing it as a kid as well. I was so exposed to life from like, I don't know.
When did this start for you? Was it, because I know you did singing as well, didn't you? Like you really,
yeah, well,
singing was a main aim, wasn't it?
Yeah, I like singing. I've always liked singing. I would say definitely like, I don't know about now, I'm older and things change and my voice changes and it's like you don't use it as much. But like I was always good at singing, and then the acting kind of just came with it.
So did you do it at school?
I did one production at school when I was 11, which I did Bugsy Malone. And you know Laura Baker? So she was my teacher in primary school.
Oh, right.
And she directed Bugsy Malone that we did, and I played Fat Sam there when I was 11. And I don't really remember much about it, but all I remember is we used tracks for all the songs, except the very last bit, which I sung. And I couldn't tell you if I was any good or whatever, but all I remember is that I did that. And then...
And what did that do to you going forward then?
Well, that was the first time I'd ever done performing. Ever.
Did you at that moment kind of go, I want to carry on doing this?
I couldn't tell you.
No.
Honestly, I don't really have like a lot of those memories. I remember enjoying it, and I think I can look back now and think that definitely it gave me like an outlet. Like I wasn't like a bad kid, but I got in trouble. Not bad trouble, like stupid stuff, but I'd always get in trouble. And I think I've been the same way I am now at 38 as I probably was when I was 8. Like I would speak up for myself. If I thought something was wrong, I'd say it was wrong. So if imagine an 8-year-old kid being told off by a teacher, and 8-year-old kid going, well, actually, no, that's not quite right. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think people, and I think I just didn't have ways to express myself. And then I think by doing that, especially I think I joined Beginners to Stage when I was 12.
What was Beginners to Stage?
That was a theatre group at the Playhouse.
So at the local theatre.
Yeah, well, I wasn't in.
Was it an amateur dramatics group, or was it like for kids?
It was Jan.
Right. Okay. So it's like a kids drama group.
Yeah, it was a kids drama group. Yeah. And
was always working towards a show.
I don't know. They did Bugsy Malone, and I remember getting a phone call, and I think that was through Laura as well. I think she spoke to my parents and said, "Oh, they're doing a show over in Harlow. Ian might be all right for it." And again, I don't remember loads about it, but I remember going to Latin Bush because I'd never been there before. And I remember the room. Do you remember where we used to rehearse? We used to rehearse there. But remember like the room, and then there was that little room, and then the other big room next door.
There was the room that was the radio station.
That's it, in the middle. Yeah. So I remember being in that room, and I remember walking in, and there being all these kids there that I'd never met before, and some of them were older, and because I think it ranged from like, I don't know, like I was probably the lowest at 12. until maybe like 16 or something like that. And there's all these kids there, and I just went and sung. I remember singing a song, and I remember doing some acting, and I remember I had to leave early because I had like a birthday party or something like that. Excuse me. And they cast me as Bugsy Malone. Bearing in mind I'd never done anything before, and then that was kind of when it clicked for me,
right?
And that was when I really started to enjoy it. And then went on from there. Really, just started doing things.
Was it something about being sort of like embraced by this group quite quickly?
I don't even know if it was embraced by it. It was just about. I think in hindsight, because I definitely didn't feel that at the time, but in hindsight, it was just about finally having a way to like express myself. And I don't think I had that. I'm quite different to like my sister, or like my parents aren't like theatre people and stuff like that. And I think
so. It doesn't like run in the family. It's not like everyone's doing it, so you just followed what they
Absolutely
did.
not. I think my mum. I was saying to my mum recently, and she even said like, when I did that school show, she was so surprised like how much I was good at it. She thought I was just going to be like. She had no idea what I was going to be like, especially or like I could sing and things like that. And like I say, I mean, I don't know how good I was. I'm sure every parent thinks their kids are good. But yeah, and then that was it really. And then doing that, and then I did that stuff with them, and then I did Fiddler on the Roof at 13, which was on the main stage, and that was where I met people like Jim. So I always probably shouldn't say this, but that's where I always say Jim started grooming me.
We just won't say who Jim is. Jim will know who Jim is.
Jim will know who Jim is.
But no one else will know who Jim is.
He wasn't really grooming me, but no. Just to be clear.
Before we get shut down for slander.
I've never been groomed. No. But that's where I met people like Jim and stuff like that. And obviously, still friends now. And
we weren't going to mention the connection.
Oh, yeah. But no. But meeting people like, that you're friends with 25 years later.
Yeah, friends for life, aren't they?
Yeah,
really?
and stuff. And obviously doing things like Pantomime at the Playhouse and stuff like that. And it was cool at the Play. I mean, it was cool doing stuff at the Playhouse.
Yeah.
We had a good time. Like, it was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea how...
West Side Story.
I mean, yeah, because that was where we met doing West Side Story, and where I met Jamie and people like that.
Yeah.
Nathan,
West Side Story was a show with a wide variety of age groups, different types of people, all coming together.
It was brilliant.
Mainly people our age,
or
around our age, maybe just slightly older.
I'd say it's difficult because like you do things, but I think that's probably the best thing I've ever been part of. I thought it was brilliant. I don't know if it was that brilliant. From
an audience perspective.
Yeah, but from doing it, man. I was 16 and hanging out with older people, and still finding myself, and we just had a good time.
And the production level, I guess, was higher on that because it was a main stage production.
Yeah.
I would say the quality of the show was West End level. From the perspective of what you could see and hear.
Yeah, I mean, the set... I mean, we were... that's the thing that I found weird when I started doing Amdram with other companies. I was like, what do you mean I got my own costume? What do you mean? Like, I don't do this. This is all done for me. Like, props are just given to you and you're told what to do, and I've got a dressing room, and like, we had a charmed life there, and it was brilliant. And I love it. Think back to some of the stuff,
Yeah. And when it went away from the Playhouse, from the local theatre, it hurt me, even though I wasn't involved, because I knew how much was being lost.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could probably...
Because there was a big period of time when there was nothing going on there.
Yeah.
Like, community-wise.
Yeah.
It was just a place for a lot of touring shows. It's starting to build back up now.
Yeah.
It's starting to come back in. I'm starting to re-see it there.
Yeah.
But it definitely disappeared for a good 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, and I worked there as well. So, like, I worked in the box office and on the bar and did some technical stuff. Like, it was like, I don't know, like, it was to a lot of people, but the Playhouse was essentially like home. I was there every day.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was being in stuff or working there and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think by the time it had kind of gone away, I'd kind of gone away too. So I stopped well before that, I think, stopped doing shows. But yeah, no jokes. Like, I probably owe the Playhouse as a place, as in like what it's given me, everything. Because like, I wouldn't have my job now if it wasn't for the us.
So what is it you do for a normal job?
So I work for. So my official job title is data services manager. I work for a company called SeatGeek, which is a ticketing company.
Right. Okay.
But you know, by trade, a database coding really.
So you're doing a lot of IT type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I manage more now than do the actual work. I'm a manager. So I don't.
So if you was to go back and be young and say, right, this is the job that I'm going to do. What is the value in all this amateur dramatics I'm doing now going to be for me doing this job later on in life?
The value of doing amateur dramatics just for my job, I guess, confidence. I think in any profession you need to be confident. I think you need to be able to. I think you need to be able to perform to an extent. Like when you're in a professional setting, you're always performing, especially like in a company where I work. So I work for an American company, and American companies can be quite cutthroat, notoriously, with like hiring and stuff like that. So I think when you work for big companies and stuff like that, you have to like learn to play the game a little bit. And I think you can. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Not be someone you're not, but like learn to play the game a little bit. And I think you can do that.
Is it like adapting to other cultures?
Yeah, different situations, or like just having confidence and things like that. So I think, but ultimately, I started off selling tickets in the box office, and then the company that did the ticketing, that provided the ticketing software, offered me a job. I went and worked for them. I got bought out by another company. That got bought out by this company.
So the Playhouse offered you actual job opportunities. Yeah. So you went from like the amateur dramatics to finding a job within the building, within the theatre. That's led you into this professional career later on.
Yeah, my job, everything stems. If I hadn't gone to work in the box office, then I wouldn't be in my job now. Facts, because it's just the way it's gone. Yeah. And I love my job, and I love my company I work for, and it's so cool. Like, you know, I work with big sports teams in America and stuff like that. I'm obviously into sports and stuff like that. So going over there and working with these big teams, or working with big teams in the UK, you know, football teams, my own football team and stuff like that. It's definitely been something I never would have done. And also, like, I think about it often, like, I don't know what I would have done either. I didn't have any like career aspirations. I just fell into this. And it all really stems from the fact that once upon a time, someone called up, said to my parents, "Does Ian want to come and audition for this?" And I went and did it. And it's just kind of been. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've worked hard. You have to work hard. It doesn't all. It's not happened by accident. But I've been presented opportunities based off that, and I've taken those opportunities. And yeah, so I met my wife through amateur dramatics. My main core friendship group, you know, my friends, they're the people I met through EHOS.
And that is a beautiful thing about it as well, is I've met some adults around our age recently, some new people that don't have any friendship groups at all. Yeah. They have their job. Yeah. And then that's it. And I never really considered that, because I've had such big circles of friends, and in different like places. Like, I've had one group of friends over here and one group of friends over there. And I don't think that's much about me, rather than the stuff that I'm doing, that I'm involved with. Yeah. Whereas there's other people out there that just do a normal job and don't have these like hobbies and activities, and they're just alone. Yep. And it's quite sad, isn't it? Really, like, because knowing that it doesn't have to be like that. I just think we're lucky. I think I feel super lucky that I found. But don't you think anyone could come into it at any point? Yeah, there is the opportunity.
People do though. You can at any age. Like, I was doing a show and someone turned up because they wanted to help out with props, and then ended up being like in the show. It's like they weren't meant to be there. It was like they had no intention, and they end up being in the show, and they're in the ensemble and they do stuff now. So I think you can find it at any age, and I think people should, like, especially now as well. It's so much easier to do it now than it was when, say, we were younger. And I'm not during the war, like, we're not old, but like when I was 12 years old, it wasn't cool to do theatre.
No, like pre-X Factor. Like,
it wasn't cool.
Pre-X Factor and pop. Like, I don't even know if kids will know what X Factor is now. Is that even on now? Britain's Got Talent or whatever. But before those things came on, it was when I was at school. it wasn't cool to be part of the local amateur dramatics group at the Playhouse.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I kept that really, really quiet.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it is actually quite a cool thing to do, I think, with kids, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember getting loads of like, not loads of shit for it and stuff like that, but like, I remember being part of a football team and the manager having a go at me and saying, "Oh, you're going to go off and prance around on stage or something like that," or
I think that still happens. I think there is.
I don't know,
that.
is there?
Yeah,
Like,
there is. Yeah.
I don't see that because it's so. I don't know if that, but I remember that kind of like negative stuff. But I didn't care because I went and had fun and there were loads of girls there. Like fundamentally, 12-year-old Ian.
Yeah.
Absolutely had the best time.
Yeah.
Because he got to go somewhere, have a laugh.
It's
like,
the only reason. It's the only reason I'm doing
girls.
it. Like, it's the only reason that I started. Yeah. You know, like Jamie. Yeah. You know how he got me involved, don't you?
No.
No. So Jamie. so I had, when I was at school. Yeah, never on my radar at all. Never a thought. I was such an introvert when I was younger. I was thinking I'll go and join the Air Force or something. I was Air Cadets, and that was like my career path. I'll join the Air Force in some capacity, and that'd be it. And I was dead set on that. And one day, sitting down in science class next to him, and he was like, "I've joined this group at the Playhouse." And I was like, "Yeah, mate, I'm not coming with you." And he was like, "No, just hear me out. I've joined this group. It's me and 30 girls, and they don't know me. Like, they don't know me from school. If you come, they won't know you as well. We can start afresh. It's not like all the girls at school. They all know us, and they've made their opinions on us. Yeah. These girls have no idea who we are.
Love that.
And we can come along, and we got our pick." And I'm like, "Really? It's that easy?"
That easy.
And like, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was a good time.
It really was. Like, and it was, and it wasn't just wonderful in the sense of being around all the girls, but I found myself.
Yeah.
In that place.
Yeah.
I started to discover who I actually was. And I was like, oh, that whole idea of like joining the Air Force, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
That was actually because I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I like the film Top Gun.
Yeah.
And was like,
it's my favourite film of all time.
So. Yeah. So I was like, I want to be Tom Cruise. And I was like, actually, no, I actually want to be Tom Cruise. I don't want to be Maverick in Top Gun. You know, there's a difference. And I started to realise that. And I started to be like, it's the films I love, and it's the theatre. Yeah. It's not the going to war that I want to do.
Yeah, I can imagine you not being like creative. Like
no,
I mean, obviously we were also into films and stuff like that, and how passionate you are about that.
Yeah, I've always been passionate about that. So
it'd be weird if you'd not like.
And I would have done. I would have if it hadn't have been for him for all them girls being there. Yeah. Unsuspecting.
It's opportunity, isn't it?
It was. It was taking that opportunity and going with it.
Opportunity being presented to you, and what you do with that. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like, I hope my son, I don't want him to do it because I want to like live vicariously through him, or like I don't want him to do it because I want him to be a professional actor. Mm-hmm. I actively don't want my son to be a professional actor. I think it seems like
I used to say
anxiety-driven, like it just seems like a cesspool of like disaster and hard work.
And some of it is. And I used to say, I remember it was my brother actually said to me, do you want your kids to be actors as well? And I said, no, I really don't. However, I have changed my mind on that now.
Oh, really?
I've come full circle on that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's all about the mindset. It's understanding what the game is, and I never understood what the game was. And that's why it was a disaster for me.
Yeah.
But that's individuals, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I do feel like my kids have got a good understanding of what it is, because they've got to see me go through hardship.
Yeah.
They've got to see me continuously hitting my head against a brick wall and not getting very far with it.
Yeah.
So they can go, do I really want that? And my son Alex is not doing performing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine him doing it.
He did do it. He did a drama.
Is he quite introvert? Is he quite introvert?
He is quite introvert.
I can imagine him being quite introvert.
But there is an extrovert hidden in there.
Yeah.
And it comes out when he was on the stage.
Yeah.
As you remember, he did a speech at my wedding, didn't he?
Didn't he? Yeah.
Got up on the chairs and did a speech.
He did, yeah.
And he wouldn't have done that without the drama group.
No,
if he hadn't have been doing I got them both into theatre when they were about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Chloe stuck with it, and she still wants to be performing. She doesn't want to be an actor. She just wants to.
But that's what I'm
music.
saying. Like, That's what I'm saying.
But
So
Alex has gone in a different road.
Yeah.
But he's got them skill sets.
Yeah.
He's got that he can talk to people, that he is comfortable around different age groups.
Yeah.
And that will take him far as he moves forward in life in whatever career he chooses.
Yeah, and to be clear, I hope my son wants to do theatre and wants to be involved. There's so many like places you can go now and do, you know, dance and drama and singing, and I hope he wants to do that. But I hope he wants to do that for himself, because I think it's something that just opens you to all these possibilities. But what I think is really important is that it's okay to want to do those things and not want to be a professional actor. It's okay to go and do those things and it just be a hobby. Like, I never ever wanted to be a professional actor. I wanted to be famous. Like, I wanted to be famous. You know, I went and did I did a few X Factors and a Pop Idol.
I remember coming
stuff.
with you, sitting with you at an X Factor for a day.
Did you?
Yeah.
I remember
coming to Wembley with you, and we sat at Wembley for a day. And I've got a feeling we didn't even get seen.
No, I got seen. I got a no straight away.
It was through the first round.
Producer, yeah. And you go through like 4 rounds of producers.
Yes, before you get.
And you go there not thinking that's a possibility as well. Because,
no, you think you're going to get.
I was a good singer, like, and I was good, and I had a good look. I thought, well, maybe I wasn't by that point. I don't know if I was overweight by that point, but I was good. But I was just in the middle. And when you know things like that, you either need to be really bad or really good. So I went through stages where I wanted to be like famous or like that famous, because it was just it was just a means to an end.
Well, I think it was in the culture of that
just
time.
Quick fix.
Yeah, that kind of late 90s, early 2000s, like that was in the air.
Yeah.
Like it was like sort of pre-social media.
Yeah.
And the majority of TV was based around going from nothing to something, wasn't it?
Yes.
Things like X Factor that would take you out of nowhere and make you a star overnight.
It's like the lottery was more. The lottery was like a bigger thing then.
Yeah, the lottery was
instant.
on. Yeah, it was on every Saturday night, and it would like be prime time TV. Like
everyone
sit down and
watching it. They had music acts on and stuff like that, and you'd watch the balls come out because you were waiting for that quick fix.
So it was being drummed into us.
Yes.
There is an opportunity
yes.
for you to be more than you are. So why don't you go for it?
So I think I wanted that. But yeah, I don't remember one time in my life where I thought I want to be a professional actor. If anything, I actively didn't want to. I just wanted it to be what it was, and it was just wonderful for me. And I look back on so much of it with like just utter fondness, and just meeting great people and having a good time, and just the difference. Like, I met so many different types of people. Race, sexuality. I was exposed to all those things at such a young age that by the time I got older, it was just nothing to me.
You had a better understanding of the world from it, didn't you?
Yeah, it was. Just like
the world wasn't so frightening.
You weren't so ignorant. Like there wasn't that ignorance. Like everything was just normal, and I love that about it. And it was just so in that respect, I would say, go and do it. But the stuff where like the pressure of you want to do this as a job, and I would support my kids to do it, but
wouldn't encourage it.
I wouldn't necessarily encourage it or make it feel like it was important. You know, just enjoy things.
I don't think we have too much say over encouraging what they do as a job anyway. Really, from what I've with my two kids anyway.
No, I mean it's
like I think if
well.
ever I've tried to guide my kids in one direction, they've tried to force it back in the other direction that is definitely not what you don't want them to do.
Yeah,
there's something about being a teenager. I think
there's skills that I think I'd like encourage them to do, like coding, for example, learning programming, stuff like that. That's
understanding what the future is.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage those types of things. But yeah, I think people have got to make their own choices. I've done that.
Yeah,
like, my parents just gave me the room to figure it out, and it wasn't always like easy, but I figured it out.
And gave you a few opportunities along the way.
Yeah, like they're always there to support me, but never pushed me in one way or the other. And I think that's
how I've tried to be as a parent.
Yeah,
tried to give my kids some opportunities and some guidance, but tried not to force anything.
Yeah, because otherwise, when they're out on their own, they're too reliant on you.
Yes, yeah.
Like, it's not until like I've got much older. I wish I'd done more as a kid wish I'd learnt like how to use the washing machine, and
Yeah.
so I'd have learnt these skills earlier in my life.
Well, that's where I'm at with my daughter at the moment. Is I refuse to tidy her room in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how messy it gets now.
Yeah.
Like, it literally looks like tornadoes hit it.
Yeah.
There's mouldy plates on the windowsill, but they ain't being they're not being touched. I'm not touching them. She's got to learn that if she doesn't want them mouldy plates on the window, they've got to be picked up and washed.
Mate, I'd lock her in there till she'd done it, mate.
Yeah. She will learn. She
Yeah.
will discover it.
Yeah.
She will.
Yeah.
But because there was a period of time where I would.
Yeah.
I'd constantly go around picking up after her.
Yeah.
And
teaching them, are you?
And she learnt nothing from that.
Yeah.
In fact, all the bad skills that she's got now are probably my fault, and have got to be worked out.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But she's at that age now where she is fully capable. And when I'm talking about my daughter, this is most teenagers.
Yeah, no, it's
like it's and even me as a teenager, I was like that.
I was gonna say,
when I left home, I didn't know how to do anything but use the microwave.
No,
and even then, I didn't really know how to do the microwave properly.
Just push the go
button.
But
I was still like I was making cheese on toast in the microwave.
To be fair, I will say microwaves are actually quite confusing to use.
Different ones have got different
we've
buttons.
got all these settings.
Yeah.
And most of the time, you just push the start button
and that's
just
all you want.
30 seconds on.
Yeah.
So I would say there's a strong percentage of people that don't know how to use their microwave properly. I only just learned how to like change the power on mine and stuff.
Yeah. And other people's ovens. I used someone else's oven recently.
You get used to your own.
In fact, it was Jim's.
Was it?
Yeah. I used Jim's oven the other day, wasn't there? I turned on his oven and I was like, how is this like working? Like, I'm doing that knob that you should do and that knob, but it's not nothing, no heat. This is not normal.
He's probably unplugged it just to mug you off.
Yeah, he probably did. He probably thought, I bet he's going to use my oven while he's here.
Not using my gas. He's a tight ass. Yeah. Jim, we're not saying who Jim is. Just, just someone called Jim.
Yeah, again, I think he's my only listener. So,
to be fair, I was going to text him earlier and tell him that I was going to my main purpose tonight was just to get a few digs in on him. But no, it's difficult, and also with kids, like the things that we're asking them not to do. Mate, we did all that.
Yeah.
Like I think remember the Wedhay house. God, like that's why I put so much weight on, because I ate crap for.
So I've
3
found
years.
with being quite an open parent about my youth.
Yep.
I've found it that my kids have got a lot more trust in me.
Yep.
And they're a lot more open to listening to me. There was a little period of time when they were like, "Oh, Dad knows someone that's done this," or "Dad's done everything." But now they're getting to them stages where they're starting to experience them things for themselves, where my son's going out on a Saturday night and the same situations that cropped up for me, he's now seeing them. He's starting to go, oh, like I've got an option of how to deal with this, because my dad told me the story about how he dealt with it.
Yeah.
I don't think it works sort of shying away from the past or hiding them from it, because it's all out there. Yeah. It's all still happening.
Yeah. And
it lets them know that you're a human being more than just a parent as well.
I agree with you to a point. I think you grow up quite naive. I don't know if like it's generational, but like you grow up. I certainly grow up and you realise that a lot of things happen more frequently than you think, and like you never really think that your parents can go through the things that you've gone through. And I imagine that our kids will be the same. They'll feel like they're experiencing something for the first time.
Yeah. I guess that's part of it, that I'd never want my kids to feel like they're going through something alone.
Yeah. Yeah. It terrifies. It terrifies me,
because those were the worst times for me, when I felt alone.
Yeah.
When I felt like I was going through a situation that no one else has been through this, and I've got no one I can tell. Yeah. When actually, if someone had said to me prior to that, I've been through this, or it might have been. I'd like to think it might have been a bit easier.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Like, don't get me wrong. They don't know everything about me.
No.
They don't know everything.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we're picking and choosing.
I agree. There's definitely limits, but the things you can tell. But there's something that, it terrifies me about like my little boy. You know, he's let's say he's 18 months, and what he's gonna like, the things that he's gonna have to go through. And I think about like the hard times that I've had to go through, and the thought of him going through that. It breaks me, because he's just so. But I think it's difficult. I assume it's different. Like the way I look at him now probably won't be the way I look at him in 10 years, because now he's so defenseless and so like just innocent and just beautiful. And as they get older, and I imagine that you look at them in a different way. It's not that you love them less or you don't care about them less, but they can handle things themselves more, so they become more self-sufficient. So I imagine that you don't feel quite so responsible. Maybe you do, I don't know, but like you don't feel like you have to protect everything they do. But it terrifies me that he's going to go through some of the things that I've gone through. Or
yeah, it is, and I'd say, and I won't lie to you, it's like I say, knowing that Alex is out there in the world, sometimes by himself. I gave him a little call yesterday just to say, like, where are you? Where
do
are
you
you?
Speak to him every day then?
Not every day now.
Oh,
no, that's weird. Yeah,
see, like,
because he's busy. He's got a life.
It doesn't matter.
You know, he's got. Yeah, but would you want your parents calling you every day?
I want the relationship. As it is now, because it's difficult because he's so young. He's just this beautiful little.
But would you at 18? Would you call your dad every day?
No, but I have a different relationship with my dad to what the relationship I think I'm gonna have with Archie.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so like, it's not that I have a bad relationship with my dad. It's just that I kind of know the way I want to be and the relationship I want to have, and I do know people that have relationships with kids where they do speak quite often and stuff like that. I think it's difficult now as well because you just worry about their safety all the time.
Oh yeah, well, they're 100% reliant on you, right?
Much more than like. Well, I'm talking about like.
Like Alex,
team.
being out
like,
in the world, and
you worry about their safety because,
like knife crimes higher, drugs are higher,
and just the world just seems like such an
more
unsafe place now to be. And I don't know if it is more unsafe or we just have access to more things about how unsafe it is. I think.
Don't get me wrong. Like when Alex goes out, like on the town or something, I don't sleep.
Yeah.
So like he goes out, he has a good time,
and
I'm staying up until 4 a.m. until he comes in at 4.
Yeah.
Like mate, and knowing exactly where he is.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way I can just sleep on that.
I think. Yeah.
So where I say like he's out in the world, it's not like my concern's just gone.
No. And
it's just I want to respect his freedom and
I agree, and you have to. I just it's just terrifying. Like, it terrifies me. But fortunately, I got a little while to go.
Yeah,
so
and things change. Like the way your thought processes on things change and evolve, and that's all part of it.
Hopefully, we'll have more kids and grow the family.
Do you hope for more? Do you?
Yeah, well, we'd like one more. Like one more. I think I always like the idea of kids growing up as like with siblings. I think.
Well, when you've had a sibling, as well.
But also like, I probably don't want to I don't want to have kids super late anyway, because I'm 38 now, and so like, I think you want to have your kids and grow up and still be young enough to do some stuff after they've grown up.
Like if you had a kid now, by the time they're 12, you're going to be 50.
Yeah, which isn't too bad.
No, but it's getting older, isn't it?
Yeah, but like, I think we're younger now than our parents were. So like, I'll be a younger 60 than my dad was at 60, because I just think that's
you know how to look. Yeah, we know how to look after ourselves.
Just
a bit
in
better.
the way, there's just much. It's just we're much more health conscious. Not to say that like my parents were unhealthy or anything like that, but we just the way we are, and we'll probably live a bit longer, and hopefully. Yeah. And I'm very health orientated now, so like And
where did that start for you then? Was there
getting in shape?
Yeah, getting in shape. Was there like a wake up call of some sort? Because let's not like pretend you were big.
Yeah, so
everyone used to call you Chunk because of your weight.
Well, it actually wasn't because of my weight.
No, go on.
So originally we came up with Chunk is because Mark called me a chav, but then they were trying to make me a punk, so we took chav and punk and we made Chunk. But then everyone just started assuming it was because I was fat, and then that was disappointing. But no, I remember Christmas 2019, Charlotte got me a couple of t-shirts and they were extra large, and I went and tried them on and they were so tight on me, and I was like, this is a problem. Like, I felt unhappy about the way I looked, so I lost a bit of weight then. I think I lost a couple of stone then, and then I got to that was just going into 2020, and obviously we went lockdown and stuff like that, didn't we, at some point then. And then, so December 2020, do you know Luke Gibson? Do you remember Luke? Ben Parsley's friend. Yeah. So Luke is a personal trainer. Shout out to Luke Gibson Fitness. And And I reached out to him because I wanted to kind of make a change and stuff like that, and just to kind of get a vibe from him, what he was doing. And he offers was doing online PTing, and I just started working with him, and was doing stuff in the garage, and then we got engaged as well. So then we were working towards the wedding and stuff like that, and just got really into like fitness, and just I ended up losing sort of like 6 stone in the end and getting really slim, but I got skinny, and I wasn't like I was healthy, obviously much healthier, but like I was just like losing weight to lose weight, and then that was got to about 2021, and then my weight, I've been slim, but like I've had moments where I've been healthy and not healthy until probably about February this year when I started working with Luke again, and now I'm like.
So it's having someone there to sort of like guide you is making a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having a personal trainer is definitely good. It helps you stay accountable, but also now like I'm really into it. So like I work out like 8 times a week now. So I go 5 days a week at the gym, 3 runs a week.
It's a massive part of your life.
Oh, massive, yeah. So 8 o'clock every morning I go to, they've just opened a gym a minute from my house. It's brilliant. And so at 8 o'clock every morning I go to the gym and I come home, go to work, and then a couple of days I'll do afternoon runs, and then I do long runs on a Sunday. And I wouldn't be able to cope. Like running especially is like my therapy. I should probably do therapy. I think everyone should probably do therapy if you can afford it. But it's expensive. So running is like my thing. I love it. Just if I don't get outdoors like and do that, I struggle a lot. I find it just helps me clear my brain.
What does it feel like when you don't do it?
I just get. I think it's almost like you just feel a bit like stuck inside your own body a little bit, like a bit claustrophobic, if that's the right way to describe it. So I think by going out and just being out and just running, and I like to process a lot. I don't like, a lot of people listen to podcasts. I like to just put music on, but I like to be lost in my thoughts, and like I'll use that time to think. If I'm having a bad day, or if I've had a disagreement at home, or if I've done something.
Give you a moment to process it.
It gives me time to think about things, and that's when I thrive, when I get a chance to like reflect on myself. If I'm in the moment, I'm pretty bad at like realising I'm in the wrong, but having that self-reflection time. But yeah, fitness has just become a real part of my life. I want to be healthy. I love it. Like I love it.
Because you know what it feels like to be unhealthy.
Yeah.
And you've felt the difference.
And unhappy
now.
as well. Like it's definitely like, you know, don't get me, like it's not all about how you look. Like the biggest change for me, you can't see. That's what I would say. And I talk to my coach about that a lot. Like physically you can see I've changed, but that's not the biggest change. It's my mind, the way that in my relationship with food, my relationship with exercise, my relationships with people, like it's changed my mindset. And not to be like one of those guys, like it's like an ex-smoker or like an ex-fat person. Because I'm still a fat person just stuck in a slim man's body. I could still devour a pack of chocolate digestives in 20 minutes. But I would encourage anyone to like just put a lot of time into yourself. It's basically like investing in yourself. Like if you think, say it costs you, and I'm just making numbers up, say it costs you £250 a month, right, to have a personal trainer. How much money, if you sit there at the end of the month, do you spend on takeaways or alcohol or going out and doing this and going out and doing that? You probably could account for £250 within a month that you don't have anything to show for, that you could put into yourself. And it's just about that kind of mindset. And that's really what I've found.
And if you haven't got your health, what have you got?
Exactly, yeah.
At the end of the day, well, if you haven't got that, you know, I'm not the best. I struggle with keeping to routines because my life is very fluid. There will be one moment where I'll be working on, or like I said, like this. Yeah. I'm working extremely hard on this at the moment. It's taking up 24/7. Yeah. I did go to the gym this morning, but I'm not doing it regularly enough. And that's what I find hard to fit in the regular exercise. However, I know how beneficial it is, and I know that I can't continue to do this if I don't have the fitness.
Yeah, you know, 100%. I thrive on routine. So like I thrive on routine. I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. Until recently, I think until like the beginning of the year, I would eat the same thing for lunch every day. Like, and then I would have like the same sort of snacks, and then dinner would just be variations. And I just thrive on routine. That's how I'm successful. So going to the gym every morning, 8 o'clock, you know, going out on a Sunday for a long, they're non-negotiables for me. I have to do it. That's the only way that I can do, because if I stopped doing that, I would not fall off the wagon, because there's not a wagon, but I would struggle to keep it up.
Yeah.
But everyone
See,
works differently.
I think I really want to be having a schedule. I really want to be having that fixed routine. And when I've managed to do it for a short period of time, I've seen the difference. Like, I'll do time blocking where I'll literally go, this is what I'm doing at these hours, and I'll fit in that, and it does work. But then where I am doing so much creative stuff, and like we said at the beginning of this, we can't always plan the creative stuff. That if I block a time for, say, right, today I'm going to do writing at this point, today I'm going to do editing at this point, it doesn't happen. Because I can't just choose to switch it on.
It's definitely easier having a 9 to 5. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, having structure, having that, you know, I know when I say 9 to 5, I don't think 9 to 5 exists anymore, because the way we always work, you know. I work for an American company as well, so they're always working later and you're on your phone and stuff like that. But having a job where you know this is what I'm going to be doing to a point, it's much easier for me than it is for you, who could be out doing all sorts of things. I work at home for a living as well, so that makes my life easier, because I can eat, like,
you know what's in the fridge and available to
you. Like, take stuff or be in a position where I'm eating out and stuff like that. So it's definitely, you know, the circumstance that you're in. But I think also, like, if you went this morning, the way you look at that, where you're saying, like, I went this morning, I should go more. I think we don't celebrate the things that, I think as people, we'll concentrate on the things we don't do rather than the things that we do. And we don't celebrate the things that we do enough.
Celebrate the small wins.
So I actually think, think your perspective on that should be, I went to the gym this morning, that's really good, because you've made time to do that. And I think if we put that a little bit more, I think it would enable us to do more. I think because we look at things in a more positive light, it makes you want to do it more. Does that make sense?
Of course,
And I think I think we should celebrate more. So
when we celebrate, it'll give us that drive to do more of it.
Yeah,
because there's a sense of achievement from it.
Yeah, and also,
and did you know what? I did have a sense of achievement when I came out the gym today. The gym that I go to is in the town centre. I'm living the other side of town, so it's a good 2 or 3 miles walk after that. Do you know what? That whole walk home, if I reflect on it, I was high.
Yeah,
like, I felt good.
Yeah.
You know, I had a smile on my face. It was pissing it down with rain.
Yeah.
But I felt good.
Yeah.
And I want more of that.
Yeah.
I want more of that good feeling.
But just in general, outside of the gym, we should just celebrate the things that we do. Like, if you have a good day, celebrate, you know. If you're feeling good, like, say it, or, like, you know, tell someone you love them, or, like, you know, just celebrate the good stuff more, because there's so much shit. There's so much shit that it can weigh you down. And I think that's one of the things I want to do as a parent, just, like, teach, just enjoy it, man. Like, not to sound morbid, but God, I don't want to get to the end and think I've wasted it. And you don't get that when you're younger, because you just feel like you've got so much time.
I don't even know if it's even considered, is it? Just like the time is that I don't remember being like in my 20s thinking, before kids, especially, how much time have I got? Just never really came into my head. It started to as my kids got older. Yeah, I started to worry about how much time I got. Yeah, started to become a bit of a problem. But not now. Yeah, you don't worry about it now. No, things have changed for me quite drastically, actually. Yeah. Like, it became a really big problem with when Gemma was ill. And things were going, like, I could, you know, she had cancer, and I felt like death was looming over me every single day, and then the fear of my kids dying was getting worse and worse and worse, and it was a big cause for depression, actually. The fear of death. But then there was a mindset thing happened to me, and my mind changed on it. I kind of experienced the other side. I experienced what death might actually be like. Yeah. And it completely changed. Yeah.
Just having that experience, just kind
Yeah,
of
going to the seventh dimension.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting too high.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to the other side, pulled back the curtain, met the guide, and
Did you?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been off this planet, like. Yeah.
I
I feel like do you know what? I'm trying not to talk about it because
Yeah.
I talk about it. I feel like I'm talking about it too much.
What,
I
on these?
literally talked
Do
about
you?
it on the one yesterday.
right, yeah.
So, but you don't know, and not everyone listens every time. But basically, I had too many edibles, and I didn't know.
I didn't know you could take too many edibles.
No, neither did I. I did not know. So, like, and even afterwards, I researched it because I was like, "Is there something wrong with me?" Because I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But basically, like, I'm going to summarise this for people that are listening regularly, that are hearing the story again. Sorry, Jim. I'm going to tell the story again. But basically, yeah, I did not know that you could have too many edibles, and I was in pain. I was digging in the garden, and I was digging to put a plant in the garden for Gemma, and I hit a rock. And I was literally like a cartoon character. You know when like Bugs Bunny hit something and they go, doing,
Yeah.
and like this sent this shiver up my neck, and my neck was in this pain, like it's so bad I probably should have gone to A&E.
Yeah.
But I took ibuprofen, paracetamol, I took some tramadol. So the tramadol is quite a strong, it's a painkiller you get on prescription that I shouldn't have really took. So I had that, so that may have added to it.
Yeah.
But then there was this, so with my wife being having cancer at the time, she had edibles because that would be the only thing that would help her pain. So I was like, do you know what? I'll have some of her edibles. And it was this fruit winder. Now, I didn't know the entire thing was 50 doses.
Wow.
So it was like you were supposed to cut it up into like 50. And of course, like, I was like, had a little
the
bit.
whole thing?
Well, I had a little bit. And I was like, I'm not really feeling it. So I had a little bit more. And then I just had the whole thing. Yeah. But, and it was an accident. And while I'm not advocating drugs, there's a lot of science. So like I say, I've done a lot of research on this since because I wanted to find out what happened to me. And the science behind it is that it is a known help for psychological problems. In Australia, it's legalised now in medical retreats. So they have medical centres where you go and get high on edible cannabis, on mushrooms, and someone talks you through the process. There's a trained professional, and it helps with people's trauma, and it helps with people's psychological problems.
Wow.
And it fixed all mine overnight.
Oh, I'm gonna move to Australia.
Yeah. Or get a fruit wine. Yeah. But I'm not advocating it because there was a bad side to that night as well. Like that night I went to hell.
Yeah.
And I nearly killed myself.
Yeah.
I nearly
Did you go to hospital?
Well, so the first thing that happened is I was having a really good time.
Yeah.
Like everything was like really, really funny. And Chloe was watching Grease 2.
Right. Oh dear.
Yeah, like really bad.
Oh, dear.
And I was like, what's this? And I started watching it with her, and I was singing along to it, and I was having a great time. And it was like, how's it go, Grease 2?
Oh,
there's a cool rider.
Cool
Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do remember that
and
one.
I'm like singing along. Anyway, it's like 1 o'clock by this time at night, and Gemma shouts up, "Shut up, neighbours!" And it put me on like this beginning of a downward spiral, like where she like broke the energy. So I was on like this high, and she broke it. And then I went downstairs, and my dog had been ill for quite a while.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, and I was like, shit, he's going to die soon. And that triggered this death thing in my head that had been like weighing on me for quite a while. I'd been like, consumed by my wife's going to die, my dog's going to die. I know my dog's going to die. I just put him down recently. Yeah. But at that time, I'm like, I'm going to put him down any day now. And this is just all too much. And then it came into my head, shit, what if my kids die?
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's going to be so much worse than all of those things. Yeah. So I better kill myself now.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, like that's how bad. So that's why I don't advocate it, because it went really dark, and so I told Gemma, and I was like, this is what I'm thinking. And she's like, just go and have a shower. You'll be fine. Just go and have a shower. So I got into the shower, and while I'm in the shower, I looked in the mirror, and I was melting. Like literally, like the water was going down my face, and I was like,
Amazing.
mate, this is bad. This is bad. And I'm still getting consumed by these really negative thoughts and really bad feelings.
Yeah.
And I ring my mum. And mum, I'm sorry. Because she's my other listener, my mum.
Yeah.
So mum, dad, I'm sorry. But I ring her at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, mum, I've done too many drugs. And so my mum and dad came. My dad took me to when he found, like, they heard that what I was been saying and thinking, they took me to the hospital. And luckily my kids had gone to bed by this time. My dad took me to the hospital. And when I got into the hospital and I was with my dad, I started to feel a bit safer.
Yeah.
I felt really safe with my dad, and I knew that if I wanted to be with anyone, it was with my dad.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that whatever I was going through, I'd be okay as long as I was with my dad.
Yeah.
And that was true as soon as I was with him. As soon as I got in the car with him, it started to feel different. Got into the hospital, the bright lights woke me up. I had a bit of this sensation of like all these faces looking at me. So like it
probably
was,
were, to be fair.
yeah, and everyone's like, all right, this
Why's that
at
guy
me.
melting?
Yeah. And so I was like, Dad, I'm all right now. I'm really not thinking about those thoughts. And instead of staying at the hospital was packed.
Yeah.
So it was like, look, I don't need to. Like, if I say it, I promise you, I'll tell you the truth. So anyway, he took me back to his house, laid down in the bed. I was like, I actually know what I need, Dad. I need Beatles music.
So weird.
Yeah. And
do you like the Beatles then, or?
I see the Beatles. This is another strange thing. So growing up, my dad listened to the Beatles a lot.
Yeah.
So it was on in the background. And as a kid, I hated the Beatles because of how often they were played.
Yeah.
In the car all the time, he's playing the Beatles, and it really used to get to me. But that night, it was almost like I realised actually there's a bit of comfort in that. And I was like, Dad, can you just put on the Beatles? So he put on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which is like that album they wrote while they were high. Yeah. Like they discovered it through.
I'm not really a fan. No. I'm not super familiar with them. So.
No, well that album is an album that while they were taking LSD, that's what they came up with. And in particular, I wasn't a fan of that album. Mm-hmm. But that night, I went to sleep listening to it. Yeah. And I wouldn't say sleep. Yeah. I went to another dimension. And I met my guide. And, I went to hell first. Yeah. So I went to hell. And in hell, it was the really bad feelings and thoughts. Wow. And it was the worst. It was everything bad that's happened in my life. Yeah. All in one moment. Yeah. And that's when this guide came and was like, look, you can choose to stay here. You can choose to be consumed by this. Or you can look over here and you can see all the good things that have happened in your life and start to be more consumed by the good things. Yeah. And there's going to be a bit of balance of a bit of both, but it's your choice of like, how much do you want the bad and how much do you want the good? And maybe if you want, we can take a walk and we can go and explore the good. And I went for a walk that probably lasted 100 years. So I can't tell you all of it because I'm still unpacking stuff.
But you remember a lot of this stuff?
I lived for 100 years that night.
Crazy.
Yeah. There's so much.
The brain is a weird ass thing, mate.
Yeah, well that's why this is why I'm still like, was this all like a story in my head? Yeah. Or did it open a gateway to somewhere else? Yeah. Like this world is stranger than we can ever possibly imagine. And I always was open to things before that. Yeah. But having experienced something so real, like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, and the way my life has changed since that night as well. Yeah, it makes me question it even more because there's the Martin that there was before that night, and that was one story. Yeah, and then the Martin that came after that night is a different Martin that can reflect on that. Yeah, but isn't that? Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? And so is that just did I just have my brain rewired that night?
I was going to say, it's just,
and put
and it a couple of ways,
and it was a new story, or did my guide talk me through what I needed to be talked through in order to go, this is a different...
But it doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't matter because everything's better.
And it's also what it is to you. So, like, it doesn't matter what it was. if the outcome of it is that
like
you've
they
gone
don't.
through
I won't lie. Some bad things happened since.
Yeah.
You know, like no, you know, there were some difficult things that have happened in the past year, but all stuff that also like as they've happened, I'm like, I also had to go through those.
Yeah.
I had to experience that, and I can reflect on everything I'm doing in a different way
Yeah.
now.
But bad shit is going to happen. It's about how you deal with it. Surely it's about the way you deal with stuff. It's never going to be great all the time, is it? You're going to go through bad stuff, and you'll go through. Anyone will, but it's about how you deal with it. And surely that's what you're better at now.
Yeah.
Is knowing how to tackle that.
Because it started to get. I think it started to get so bad that I was losing the skills to cope. And I guess that's what depression is.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think it comes in all different types and forms, doesn't it? I think there's different levels to it as well, isn't there? I don't think I've ever really like been there to know. Do you know what I mean? But that's crazy, man. I had no idea, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I only talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. Carl, when I say to Jim what's new at coffee, I can't believe he's missed that.
Oh, Martin got so high.
I can't believe he's missed that one out. What's new? What's new?
Yeah.
Nothing really. Oh,
No.
what do you mean?
No.
It's,
Jim was one of the first, because I kept it quiet for a while as well, because I didn't fully understand it.
Of course,
I told my dad I woke up the next morning after I'd been on this journey, and I woke up, it wasn't like a dream, it wasn't like sleep.
Yeah.
It was like, my dad put on this music, I closed my eyes and let myself go.
Yeah.
And then when I allowed myself to come back to this reality. It was the next day. And I was like, Dad, can we go and get McDonald's breakfast? So I explained to my dad what had happened. But then after that, I was like, I don't think I can like tell people because everything is so different now. But the one thing my dad said to me that morning is just like, I know you're okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're okay. I can see it. Yeah. I can see that you're awake.
You're lucky though. Like your parents are super down to earth as well. I think that's quite good. I'm everyone's parents or whatever, but like I can imagine you like when you say like, oh, I called my parents and said that. Some people think, oh my god, I can't believe you called your parents and said that.
No, well, I can't. It's unfair again.
Yeah, but your parents are like when you say that, I'm like, well, you know, they're equipped to deal with that. Like they're pretty chilled and cool people. Like your dad, you know what I mean? I can imagine him sitting there and just like listening to you and taking it all in, and like that's why you felt safe because you know, I remember him being like cooled out and down to earth, and that helps, doesn't it? Because when they're like that, it makes you feel like you can tell them because they might have gone through similar stuff, or you never know. But that is a crazy thing to go through. Yeah, that is mad. I've never been through anything like that. No, I have weird dreams when I get sick, but that's about it. I have like fever dreams. Yeah, but that's about it. Like, and I don't remember stuff like that. And to be honest with you, what you went through would freak me out.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I went to hell. So the important message is I went to hell first. Yeah. And if I wasn't around good people, that could have been very dangerous that night. Yeah. Yeah, that night there was ideas of me jumping off a bridge at one point. Yeah. And so not having the right people around. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I might not be here to talk about it now. Yeah. So I must stress that I'm not advocating it and saying it's a good thing to do. But there is science there that helps people in the right setting.
It's pretty scary you got to that point, to be fair.
Yeah. And I didn't even realise it as well. So I can only like reflect on that time and say how bad it was. Yeah. At the time, I didn't realise how
Do you think they were real the bad thoughts were real thoughts, or do you think they were like drug-induced thoughts?
Oh, no, they were real thoughts, just all in one. Yeah. So it brought everything together in one moment. Yeah. So I'd been having all these bad thoughts, not killing myself, but that became the answer that night.
It's fucking crazy.
That became it's that bad. Yeah. This is the only way now. Yeah. Because I can't take anymore. Yeah. I mean, it's not been the easiest ride, has it? So no,
it's been some tough.
Well, we do go through some tough stuff. We all do, don't we? We all go through some tough things, and we don't expect some of this stuff to come up. And I think you know, this is why it's important to like talk and then we've like been talking about like your health. Yeah. Yeah, building yourself up with the skills, so that when we do have the hard days, it is maybe a little bit easier. And I think that's what I wasn't doing before. I wasn't building the skills to be able to look after myself. Because I was so busy looking after everyone else.
I think it's easy to forget you need to look after yourself when you're looking after a lot of other people. But the thing to remember is that if you don't look after yourself, you're not equipped to look after anyone.
100%.
Because you just, so I think, but yeah, just be healthy and just be happy, man.
Yeah.
Fuck all that other shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
That is crazy.
It's crazy.
I had no idea.
But I wouldn't be doing this now, because this is part of it.
Yeah. Did you start this after?
Yeah.
Was that just something you?
So what this is?
You wanted to do, or
this isn't the past me.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk freely and openly and not have any fear about what I say.
Yeah.
I couldn't be. I was always inquisitive.
Yeah.
But not to the extent I am now.
Yeah.
But my guide on this journey that I went on, we talked a lot. We talked a lot about choices and about what I want to do.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell me what I should be doing, and he said I could do nothing if I want.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, you can literally do nothing.
Yeah.
But we talked a lot in metaphor. So we were like waves at one point, me and my guide.
Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't like a person. A lot of people think.
I was going to say, he didn't look like Tom Cruise.
No, he didn't. He wasn't Maverick. No, it didn't turn out to be Maverick.
That would be cool.
It was more like we were fluid, but in different questions, in different places, we were different things. So sometimes we were stars in the universe, and sometimes we were waves in the sea, and sometimes we were grains of sand, and we were. Like I said, it's 100 years. Like, we were a lot of different things, and a lot of stuff was talked about.
And this was just all in one night.
All in one night. And the only way for someone that hasn't been to that dimension that I can describe it is like, the film Doctor Strange. When she zaps him and he goes out of his body, and there's like kaleidoscopes and he's stretching and he looks at his hand and all these multiple different hands come out. That's the only thing that I've ever seen that's similar to where I've been. Yeah. And the way that do you remember in that film she sort of guided him through that experience a bit? That was quite similar.
Are you saying you're Harlow's answer to Benedict Cumberbatch?
That's right. No, Doctor Strange.
Isn't that who he is? How you know who plays him?
Doctor Strange. Yeah. No, but actually Doctor Strange.
Oh, so sorry.
No, I'm a superhero now.
You'd rather be Doctor Strange.
No, I'm no longer an actor.
Right, I see. Sorry.
I'm actually got superpowers now that I've returned. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed the moral of the story. Oh dear, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what are you trying to do with this?
To put it into words, raise the voices of change makers.
Okay.
That's like the only way to put it into words. Raise the voices of people that are going to make a difference. And I didn't fully understand that within this it would be leading to that, but I'm starting to understand that now as it's happening, as I'm sitting down with people that genuinely want to make a difference. The first time I sat down and did this with Jim.
Was Jim your first one?
Jim was the very first one. I didn't still fully understand what I was doing. I just knew it was something about it felt right. And something about it felt right starting with him as well, because comfort, safety.
That makes sense, yeah.
But the initial idea of doing this was to set up some business to teach people how to be actors, and and like it was all business related at the beginning. But then it was like, no, this isn't about a business. This is about actually what I want to achieve out of me being here.
Yeah.
And with me being here, it isn't about me. It's about the person that I can find and get to be opposite me, and hear their voice and get it heard, essentially.
Yeah,
Because I do, and I think that's where I think the change happens within the conversations that we have.
Yeah. No.
So that's what this is.
Good. I think it's good. I think it's sometimes just good to have a chat.
Yeah, it is.
Just have a chat. Like,
yeah.
You don't know what. Sometimes you don't even know where it's going to take you.
Yeah. And maybe there's a thing in this as well. We said at the beginning of this, like getting to just meet an old friend.
Yeah.
Like sometimes as we get older, it's harder to find excuses to like catch up, isn't it?
It is when you're busy and stuff. Like,
it is when you've got a family, when you've got a job, and when you've got hobbies, and when you've got a life.
Yeah, and I actively moved away from my old life as well, like to go and like start again. So I think sometimes with my old life, I try and like keep my old life where it was, just because I've moved so far away from it. Not necessarily like with people, but it's just, you know, I don't really have much connection to like that part of me anymore.
Is that to protect yourself?
No, not really. I'm just such a different person to what I was then. I don't know. I can't really explain it. Like, I don't feel like I protect myself. Just even like driving through like Old Harlow today was like a blast from the past. I haven't done it in a long time, and yeah, I don't know. Just feel like I've
moved on.
Yeah, just kind of like, and also like, without sounding like a douche, I feel like I've just matured from that person a little bit. Like, sometimes what I've found with people, as I started to like change and find my way a little bit, is that I was moving forward and everyone else was standing still, and that was sometimes difficult for me to deal with. So the easiest thing to do was just to kind of leave the people that stand still and just concentrate on moving forward myself. Otherwise, you kind of get dragged back a little bit by people.
And that can be quite dangerous for you, can't it? To be held back, especially when you're someone that wants things out of life.
Yeah, 100%. And I have goals and stuff like that. And there's nothing to say that any of the people that along the way have been bad people. And there's people that I look back very fondly of and affectionately. But I'm kind of glad some of those people are in my past to an extent. Do you know what I mean? Like, they played a big part in my life at that part of my life, but some people just wouldn't fit into my life now.
Life is definitely a journey, and it's definitely along that journey we say hello to some people and goodbye to some people along the way. Yeah. And that's not always a bad thing.
No, I agree. I don't believe that you can...
And every now and then you can have a catch-up with some of those old people, and... Yeah.
You know, you bump into them in the street and it's nice to see them. I like that. Sometimes you might bump into someone.
But it doesn't have to be the same as it always was.
No, things change. People change. And
did you know what? I used to struggle with that, actually, for a while.
What? With things changing?
With things changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. With things... I would be like, why are things changing? I guess from a place of comfort.
Yeah.
But then in the same hand, I see so much reward from the change.
Yeah.
From the ever-evolving life.
I think the thing for you is because you had kids young and we were always kind of around when you were going through that, it's almost like you went through all that stuff that we all kind of, you know, like, just people had come, like, for example, me, like, I've obviously had kids a lot later, and so my change has happened, but so people start changing, and then you've already gone through a lot of that. So maybe there wasn't a lot of the changes other people were making. You'd kind of already gone through those types of things, so it can be quite difficult like that. But like you say, look, I don't like change as a whole. I find change quite challenging. But
well, it's breaking out of comfort zones, isn't it? Like I said, it was quite comfortable.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be in comfort, don't they?
Yeah.
I think it's quite natural to seek that. But everything good is outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
Everything good happens when you break free and go to the next level with it. Again, like even with doing this, part way through doing this, after I'd done about 30 of these, I started to realise that this could just become a hobby.
Yep.
And the thing that I'm pursuing won't happen if it just stays like it is.
Yeah.
So it has to grow, and I have to do things different to break out of comfort zones, and I have to go to different levels with what I'm trying to do.
to achieve.
Yeah,
but that's exactly me and my weight loss.
Yeah.
That's exactly me and my weight loss.
Yes.
That is exactly the same thing. You have to push yourself so far to get what you want to do. And over those periods, your goals will change as well. Same you say, you started this with an intention and it changed. I started my weight loss journey trying to lose weight, and then it turned into this, and then it changed into this, and it changed into that. And yeah, and it can be whatever you need it to be. But you just got to kind of roll the punches a little bit, but you just got to put yourself out there, work hard. Same with anything. If you get enjoyment out of this, who cares, like, what it becomes? If you do this and you enjoy it and it creates positivity in your life, who gives a shit, like, about any of the rest of it? As long as it benefits your life and it enhances your life. Goes back to that, doesn't it? We just say yes to the things that enhance your life and say no to the things that don't, and say no to the people that don't. It's not a bad word. It's a good word. Just say yes and enjoy it.
Where do you see the change for you moving forward? Do you see any change in your future? Do you see anything new coming up?
I mean, I don't see anything that... I'm not, like, working towards anything new at the minute. So I think I have my targets. Like, I've got a young family, so I want to enjoy that young family. I want to be a good dad, good husband. I want to be a good person. I want to work hard. I want to enjoy the things that I'm doing. So there's nothing at the minute that I'm working towards changing, but that's not to say that if an opportunity came up for me to try something new or do something else, that I wouldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just constantly trying to work on myself. I know it sounds a little bit like... But there's always room for improvement, right? So, like, I'm just always trying to improve. I just want to be the best version of myself that I can be. So I'm always trying to, like, think about how, like, self-reflection and stuff like that. How am I doing this or how am I doing that? And can I handle that better? Or, you know, if my son pisses me off and I lose my temper, can I handle that better? If I have an argument with my wife, how did I contribute to that? That's something that I've been trying to do for years now. Even when bad stuff's happened to me that hasn't been my fault, I've always tried to look at it and say, right, how did I contribute to that? How can I do better next time? So they're the things that I'm focused on at the minute. I'll, you know, we make mistakes, but yeah, how can we make things better? And just a bit of self-reflection and stuff like that, and see what opportunities come my way. I'm excited.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Being excited.
I'm excited for the future. Yeah.
I was with a group of friends last night and I said to them after the end, I was like, I am so excited about the future right now.
Yeah.
Like, it looks good.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice feeling to have. Like we said, there's some bad things going on in the world. Let's not lie to ourselves. But when your personal life is going in a certain direction, it feels good, and it's
agreed.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you just got to enjoy it and hold on to it and celebrate it. Like I say, that's really the only thing you can do. Don't get bogged down by the shit, man.
So as I wrap this up, one last question that I like to kind of put at the end here, hypothetical. So we've talked about your hopes and dreams for the future. Yeah. But if we could actually, like, jump in a time machine together now. Yeah. We've got a time machine here. Yeah. And let's go and meet your son 10 years from now.
Oh, you want to go forward?
Let's go forward, yeah. What would you say? What at this point now, and you go and meet your son, what would you say to him?
What, in 10 years' time? So what, so he'd be 11 and a half.
He'd still be young.
Use tissue, not a sock. Because you can throw that down the toilet, socks go crusty.
That's what creates all the holes in them, doesn't it?
I don't know. Never used a sock. I would say... I don't know. Wow. It's a big question. I would ask him if he was happy. I wouldn't necessarily tell him anything. I would just, like, are you happy? Like, yeah, are you happy? And see what he says. And hope he says yes. And hope that he, you know, You only hope for the best for your kids, right? You hope that they don't hate you, that they love you, and that you do a good job. But I just tell him to enjoy it. I wish I could go back and tell.
Let's go. Let's jump back.
Give me some edibles.
Yeah,
and we'll jump back.
Let's go back now.
But no,
we're in time machine now.
Let's go back. If I could go back and just tell 10-year-old me, just enjoy it, man. Just enjoy it. When you're young, you're so desperate to grow up, and when you grow up, you're so desperate to be young. And I just think both, me now and me 10-year-old, don't worry about it. Don't worry about how quickly time goes, or what's gone, or what's to come, or how long it takes to get there. Just enjoy it. Just, make the most of it and enjoy it. But definitely don't use a sock.
We're going to have to leave it there, I think. This has been so nice catching up with you,
Thanks
mate.
for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Proud of you for doing it. Keep it up.
Thank you.
And maybe I'll become like your second listener.
Well, we've got Jim and my mum.
Third, there you go.
So third, yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
So, yeah. Oh. Thanks, mate. I appreciate you. We appreciate if anyone did decide to listen in or watch, then we appreciate you for joining us on this journey. So
thanks, Jim Thompson.
Thank you.